Hi, my name is Robin Martinez and I'm the local business administrator with the City of Thornton Economic Development Office. I'd like to say thank you for taking the time to watch our business video. This is just one of the resources that we have available to support your local business here in the City of Thornton. I'd like to take a few minutes to talk to you about the resources that are available to you, whether you are a home-based business, startup business, existing business, or looking to locate to the City of Thornton. Our office is here to support you. We have programs that provide financial assistance, business counseling, and marketing resources. Our financial assistance program offers grants that are available for locating or expanding your business into the City of Thornton, as well as to help with equipment purchases, interior building improvements, exterior building improvements, signage, and marketing. The application process is simple, and the best part is you don't have to pay the money back. You can find more information on our grant programs at shopthorntonfirst.com. The Shop Thornton First program markets and showcases Thornton-based businesses for the purpose of encouraging consumers to shop locally. Take advantage of this free marketing opportunity by going online to shopthorntonfirst.com to claim your business page. Confirm your business information is correct. Personalize your page by adding photos, promotions, coupons, and information about your business, or even link to your social media pages or website. By registering your business at shopthorntonfirst.com, you will receive the latest information on what is happening in our business community, such as free networking events, educational workshops, and more. The City of Thornton appreciates our local business community and is always looking for new ways to improve the business climate and services we offer. I would appreciate an opportunity to hear from you, learn about your business, and how we can help support you as a local Thornton business owner. You can contact me at 303-538-7393. Thank you for taking the time to watch our video, and thank you for choosing to be a City of Thornton business.
Welcome everybody. I am Peter Reset and go by Digital Marketing Dude just because I'm kind of laid back and fun, okay? And incredibly handsome. So that's kind of how that goes. Tonight will be pretty interactive. I love doing workshops in Thornton. This is my second one. I grew up over in Commerce City, you know, the hood over there. And my best friend lived here in Thornton. I've done some things in Thornton as a young man that cannot be reported because the statute of limitations is not over yet on those things. So I'm just letting you know that right now. So I'm really excited that they actually let me come here and do a workshop. It's pretty cool. So just quickly about me, besides my criminal background, I've been a marketing consultant for full-time on my own for 7 years. Prior to that, I was in sales and marketing for other companies as employee for about 20 plus years. And, you know, after I got fired a couple times, I thought, hey, maybe I should just do this myself. And so I've kind of come across this stuff that I'm going to teach you tonight more through the School of Hard Knocks and figuring stuff out. I didn't go to college to be a marketing consultant. I kind of went through life and said, hey, maybe I should learn how to do this. Really, the reason that drove me to it was I was in sales, just sales for a long time, and I'd get hired by one of these small businesses. And I'd say, okay, I'm a sales guy, where's my leads? And they would grab a big phone book and they would set that in front of me and say, there you go, there's your leads. And I was always confused by that because I thought I was supposed to sell to someone who was already interested in what you had, not actually go out and find someone who was interested, because I thought that was what marketing was supposed to do. Marketing is supposed to generate leads. Salespeople were supposed to follow up on leads and stuff. So that was my process over time of figuring that out. And now we do that for clients from here in Colorado. We have a number of clients, and from California to New York that we work with in marketing their businesses. She did mention, Rob mentioned that I'm a marketing consultant through the SBDC. One of the cool things is, if you just hired me directly, it might cost quite a bit of money, but you can actually get consulting time with me for free. Doesn't cost you anything. Just contact the SBDC office and say, hey, I want to do a one-on-one with Peter, and they'll send me an email and we'll set it up, and you can get that consulting time. They've got a whole program of resources, not just marketing, from financial advice, legal advice, business planning. If you have to work on business planning, they can help direct you with that as well. So that's available to you guys. So real quick, I want to go around the room, have you introduce yourself, tell me a little bit about your business, and maybe one thing you're hoping to get out of the class tonight. So you're in front by yourself. You get to start first.
Let's do a review. Rewind, start.
Rewind?
I'm Terry Farley. I started a photography business last fall and started doing friends and family last fall. And right now my goal tonight is to figure out this marketing thing because I've never been in business for myself. I've had a job working for someone else.
Okay.
And I'd like to figure out how to make this thing run.
Cool. Good. Welcome.
Thank you.
Ladies, go ahead.
I'm Veronica, and I opened a lash bar last year. And
I'm sorry, hang on. What did you open?
It's like a lash bar. So
What does that
it's,
mean?
Lash extensions and
Like eyelash? Okay,
Mhm.
great.
I also do like.
I didn't know if that was like some new term the young kids were using that I didn't know about,
It's pretty
which
cool.
happens a lot.
Totally. And I'm kind of in the same boat with Terry, just wanting to learn new techniques on how to market and reach new clientele.
Okay, awesome.
I'm Deja, and currently I'm doing the same thing as Veronica. I'm a makeup artist and esthetician. Lash extensions have really helped me expand, but what she left out was we're expanding together in a new business separate from our own.
Mm-hmm.
So we're here to get marketing down.
Figure some of that stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Good. Welcome. Go ahead.
My name is Eric, and I have a company called Convergent Impact. I do military-infused leadership development based on my 24 years of combat-tested leadership experience. I'm excited about this particular seminar because as much as the Army does teach you, it never teaches you how to promote yourself.
Right.
It's always about the team, and at least one veteran here can attest to that. And so I'm hoping to learn how to get out there and turn myself and my company into a brand that is that sends a good positive message.
Okay. Awesome.
Hi.
Hey.
Go ahead. My name is Bruce Renz. Our company is called Sassy Selections. My wife specializes in doing alterations, specifically ladies' formal wear, like wedding dresses and things. But we are branching out and growing our embroidery business at this time. And
Okay.
branding is or embroidery items and things are a piece
Like
of this.
shirts and hats and that type of
Yes,
stuff.
and so I'm looking for maybe terminology or ways to connect with businesses so that I could sell those products in a better way.
Okay.
Right now, it's based on her Google and Yelp ads, and
Sure.
we're trying to make it so it's more of a proactive versus a reactive type marketing program.
Okay. Awesome. Great.
My name is Melissa Garner. I'm the founder and owner of Dynamic Kinetics. And basically what I do, I'm a certified personal trainer, but I actually go around to different fitness establishments and I teach CEUs for personal trainers
Gotcha.
so that they can maintain their credentials. So I'm looking to launch this month. I want to find a practical, efficient marketing plan so that I'm not having to drive around the whole Denver metro area
Sure.
trying to figure out how to get clients. So.
Okay. Great. So good mix. So where some of you are selling direct to consumers, others are selling to other businesses, and different things. So a lot of what we'll talk about tonight is some background information. I'll give you some bases to work with. Any questions you have along the way, please ask. If you need to get up and go to the restroom, it's fine. Don't worry about it. But let's just ask questions as we go. Yeah. And we'll try to address those. And the back end section of this that we'll get into, and we'll just hit more of on a high level, or a lot of the questions that you need to ask and really ask yourself and come up with some of the answers. So it's really about asking the right questions. And as you ask those questions, you're going to have the next best step. Here's the next best thing that I need to do. Is it going to be 100% perfect? No, because you got to test it. You got to throw it in front of some people, get some reactions, and tweak. But the questions that we'll go through should give you a really good solid direction on which way to go and what you can do to move towards the next step. Fair enough? Okay. Awesome. So, why does branding matter? A little bit about this is not necessarily people buying what you do. It's more about, oh, go back. I don't want that one to come up. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And if you have clients right now, it's not really on the questions, but this kind of goes to this, the why, how, what. If you have current clients, one of the most important questions you need to ask them is, why do they do business with you? That's going to tell you a bigger story than, oh, well, you have the best price. That's probably not the reason why. There's probably something else that you do that you probably don't even realize that you do that's kind of driving why they do business with you. So that's a piece of understanding that's actually the brand that you're building and that you have is part of you. You're part of your brand. It's not just this representation of the company. It's part of who you are. So that's really an important question to ask. Most of the time we start with what. Here's what I have. Here's what I do. And that's okay, but that's what everybody does. Every business does that. So it's good to take a step back and ask the question, why? Why do I do what I do? Why is this important? It's really the idea when you're talking to the end client, they don't even really care that much about the process of how you're going to do it. They just want to know, what's the result going to be? So if I need to put a hole in this table, I need a drill to do that. Do I really care about the drill? I don't really care about the drill. I just want the hole. So I have to go buy a drill so I can get the hole, but the drill is not the most important thing. The hole is what I'm after. So I'm after the result. So that's part of the question that you need to ask. So what is not necessarily branding? This is not a graphic design class. We're not going to talk too much about graphics. While they're important to a degree, that's really not what we want to talk about tonight. Yeah, you're online, you're on Facebook, you got business cards. The branding really is who your customers think you are. That is the true test of your brand and what your brand is. And that is what we want to try to identify and discover tonight. A logo's great, a website's great, a tagline's great. And those are typical branding things that we talk about with branding. But that's not the whole story of branding. So colors matter too, and I just want to mention this. I saw this in a print shop the other day, and I thought, oh, this is really helpful. So I knew that this was true. When you look at various colors, that there's an implied emotional connection behind the colors. This is just extra information for free. So you can see, different brands and the colors that they choose, and kind of how that connects to to the emotional side of it. Again, if your colors don't match the right emotion, it's not going to make or break your business. But there actually is some thought behind that. And you can just search this online. I'll send this over so that everybody can get a copy of this PowerPoint. But this is called the Color Emotion Guide. So the first step to create a brand is all about strategy. What is strategy? Strategy again asks the question why. This is not about the tactics. This is the reason we're doing this. Why are we going to war? Why are we starting this? What are the reasons behind that? So we have to know why and when. And this really gets down to what we call a USP, or unique selling proposition. What is it that makes you a little bit unique, a little bit different? Some people call it a value proposition. I'll use a term later on that we call hedgehog. Call it a hedgehog, and I'll explain that. But we got to start with the USP. So what's the USP? The challenge that you have to do is answer in your prospect's mind these 4 questions. Why should I read or listen to you? Why should I believe what you have to say? Why should I do anything about what you're offering? And why should I act now? So if in your marketing, in your content, in the information you're providing, you don't answer these questions, then you're not differentiating. They're not going to understand the message that you're bringing. It's going to be hard for them to make a decision. Because the biggest challenge that we have right now is not being able to find a solution to our problems. There's a lot of solutions to the problems that we have. The problem is there's so many solutions, and I have to try to figure out which one is the right one. So if I'm confused about these things, I'm not buying anything because I'm confused. I have to be really crystal clear on what it is I'm getting and how it's going to help me, because if not, I can't make a decision. So part of our job today in such a overloaded, information-packed world is to drill down and get that message crystal clear so there's no doubt in their minds that you're the right choice to solve their problem. And we'll dig into some of this stuff to figure out how we come up with the answers to these questions. A couple other questions. These should be on your handouts as well. So why should people call you instead of someone else in the marketplace that appears to offer the exact same thing? What's at least a little bit different? And why should a client choose you versus any other provider of the same or similar service, or any and all other options? So this is something that you have to think about too, is that there's number one, my direct competition. So if I'm a dentist and there's a dentist down the street, my direct competition is that dentist. But you know what? There's other options as well. I don't want to do anything because it's not that bad. I could take some Tylenol, and the pain will go away. So what are all the other competing factors, not just the direct competition? And that's something that you have to think about as well. A good example of that, there was a lady that had a spa up in Fort Collins, and she wound up having to close down because a dentist's office very close to her started doing spa work as well. So now the dentist, who she thought wasn't her competition, suddenly became her competition. And she had no plan for that. She had no scope of, how do I compete with that? And she wound up having to go out of business. So there's direct competition and there's indirect competition that you have to think about as well. So this is, sorry that's not lined up. So this is a really good tagline. If you can get all this narrowed down in a tagline, awesome. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be this. But this is one of the best ever. When Domino's Pizza came up with this, they said fresh hot pizza delivered in 30 minutes or less, guaranteed. So it told the whole story. It's going to be fresh, it's going to be hot, it's going to be in 30 minutes, and they guarantee it. What they didn't say, it's not for everybody. They don't talk about Mama's recipe. They don't even say that the pizza's good. They don't even say this is the best pizza with the best sauce. They don't even talk about that. But it's very specific, and it has meaning. And offering a guarantee is a great way to put teeth into what you have. Very few people are willing to offer a guarantee, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. All right, so what are some of the basics of developing a good USP? Again, it has to offer something unique. It doesn't have to be dramatically unique. It doesn't have to be hugely different, but it needs to be a little bit different, at least. It has to be clear and concise. So you have to be able to put this in a sentence. It doesn't have to be as short as the fresh hot pizza delivered in 30 minutes, but it needs to be short and concise. More of a, what's that 60-second message that I can deliver? You also want to connect it back to some emotional need. Is there an emotional need or desire that this helps to meet? And what is that? Emotion is always going to be a much better connection to people than just money or time or stuff. Being able to connect it and tie it into emotion, how are you going to feel, after you've done this? What does that look like? That can help you. That's part of what you can add into that. There's some other ways that you can differentiate yourself. And so I call these widgets. So instead of being a cheaper price, this is what happens. This is how we get commoditized. You hear the term, oh, it's a commodity. It's like when people are trying to make a choice, sometimes the easiest choice when the two look exactly the same, the only thing that's differentiated is the price. So now it becomes just a price shopping. So now I'm looking for the best price because I can't see that anybody's any different. So a lot of times what we tend to do, instead of really thinking about it, is, well, I'll just cut my price. I'll be the cheapest choice in town. That usually doesn't work out very well long term. So instead of cutting your price, what can I do to add value? Is there something else I can add in that either doesn't take very much time, doesn't really actually cost a lot, but at least appears to have an extra amount of value to it? Instead of selling something one-off, how can you package things together? Put it into a group of things in packages versus one-off items.
I have a question with that. Like with the marketing, is it good to show the a la carte prices and then show the combo pack, like advertise them both?
So what you have to come back to is, how does my competition do it, right? Mm-hmm. And how is that going to be better? How is it going to be better for this customer? Is the package price and the package thing actually going to get them a better result? So part of that's you making a decision. Do I just want to sell the one-off thing? It's there, they could buy it, but is that really going to get them the best result? So part of that's kind of thinking, maybe I just want to sell the package price because I know if they get the package, they're going to get the result that they're after. That's going to be better for me too because they're going to be happier. They're going to refer me to more people. So think about that, right? And you can look at that, but you have to test it too. You got to throw it in front of some people and see what happens. But long term, For me, I always want to sell the best result. That's what people are after. That's what people want. So what do I need to put together to give them the best result? Again, if you sell a product, a hard product, physical product, can you combine that product with a service? Is there something else that you can add to it? Again, these are just quick, easy ways to create differentiation. If you are a service, can you add a product to your service? Is there a physical thing that you can throw in as a part of the service that you do that, again, has a good, high perceived value, that does have some benefit for results, that you can combine together with that? Because then, in your marketing messaging, in your USP that you develop, you can talk about the service aspect of your product. So now you're not just talking about the product, you're talking about the service that comes with it. Same thing the other way around. One of the best things, and I kind of talked about this, what I call a decision-making engine. It's really how can you help your clients make a good decision. Again, there's so much noise and there's so much going on out there. It's like, how can you help them know for sure that your solution is the right solution? And that could be answer these 3 questions. And if you answer these questions this way, and this way, then yes, my product, my service is the perfect fit for you. However, if you answer this way, and this way, we can't help you. And that's okay. It's okay to be able to say, I can't help everybody. And we'll talk more about that too. We tend to try to go, oh, I can't pick a niche, I got to pick everything. And usually you can grow much faster by being more narrow than being more broad. So how can you help them quickly understand that you are the right solution to the problem? They need to make a decision. People are trying to figure out, they want to find a good solution to whatever it is. So how do they do that? Give them a method, a questionnaire, a piece of paper they fill out and answer questions, whatever it is. Come up with some way to help them make a wise decision. So again, kind of some examples of different ways companies have packaged things. So you look at Microsoft Office. I remember a number of years ago, I was actually in the office supply business, and we used to sell software. The number one selling software at the time was, now I can't even, WordPerfect. Anybody remember WordPerfect? Mm-hmm. Some of you aren't that old. So WordPerfect was the number one word processing software. It was the best. It was way better than when Microsoft came out. So when Microsoft came out with Windows, they started bundling in Microsoft Office, which included Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and they put it together. It was a lot cheaper that way, and they weren't that great. So the other program that was really big then was Lotus Notes. You remember Lotus Notes? Have you ever heard of Lotus Notes? This guy back here does. So Lotus Notes was the spreadsheet program. That is the spreadsheet program that everybody used. It was the best. It wasn't even close to what Microsoft Excel did. Microsoft Excel sucked. But Microsoft took over the market because they bundled it all together. You used to have to buy WordPerfect separately. It was its own company. Lotus was another company. You had to buy it separately. So now, Microsoft bundles it together, and none of you guys even know who Lotus Notes is or WordPerfect is. They're gone. So that's a good example of that.
Of course, some of us ran DOS at the time.
That's right. You were running DOS and running WordPerfect. Absolutely. I was running the precursor. You know, when I was in college at the time, I was running the precursor to DOS, which was called CP/M. So, I know I don't look that old. I have 3 grandchildren, by the way. Yeah. So free computer plus 3 years of ISP. So this has been more recently, I guess, maybe only about 15 years ago. Especially when the high-speed dial-up. I don't know how you could put high-speed and dial-up together in the same sentence. But we had high-speed dial-up, and when all these internet companies started coming out, they were actually bundling, 3 years of internet service, at $30 a month, but you got a free computer when you bought it. So it didn't last very long because I don't know if that was a sustainable model, but it launched a lot of internet service providers. Razor blades. So Gillette, what they started to do early on was give away the holders of the blades. They would give those away. You could buy the holder of the blades for free. All you had to do was buy the blades. That was one of the things that they did. And then IKEA. You think about IKEA. What makes them unique? First of all, when you're in there, it takes a long time to get out because you get completely lost. Have you ever been in IKEA? Everybody been in IKEA? Oh my gosh. I can't wait till they open this one up here. It's going to be great. So sexy European flair, low prices, cafeteria, childcare, atmosphere, low pressure. What do? High volume retailing. Yuppies showing up in droves. Place is packed. Every time you go in there, you're like, who are all these people buying furniture? So I'm sure Jake Jabs is not real happy about it, but what can you do? So what else can you add to help you be unique? Again, if you're struggling, you don't have a perfect formula of how you're unique, it's okay, because there's always something you can add. Can you add a service guarantee? The quickest, fastest way to differentiate yourself is to offer some type of guarantee. Money back guarantee. Hey, if we don't perform and this doesn't happen, we're going to give you your money back. That puts somebody at ease. They understand, okay, you're at least saying that, and you put it in writing that you're going to do that, and it puts pressure on you in a good way to really perform and to do what you say you're going to do. Very few businesses want to offer that kind of a strong guarantee, especially smaller businesses. You don't see it that much. So if you really have to try to differentiate yourself, offering some kind of guarantee is quickest, easiest way to do it. Why do people shop at Costco? So is it because they love buying in bulk and giant bottles of ketchup? Not really. But you know what? If I bought this laptop there, if I want to take that thing back in the next 2 years, no questions asked, so take that thing back. So, and that's kind of Costco's model. They take stuff back. I've seen people take stuff back they've had for years. Costco takes it back. That's crazy. But one way to do it. If you're installing something, is there a guarantee? Is there some kind of software that you can include as part of the package? Is there an information product? So maybe it's ebook or something like that, some additional content that they get as a part of the purchase, or another related product. Is there some type of review or design review or evaluation, something like that you can provide as a free service? I do this all the time with our business with different marketing reports. We can do an evaluation of your online reviews. Where are all the sites that have reviews about you? We can create a report for that. Doesn't take us very long to do. Nice free report, something that you can offer to get somebody's attention. again, some kind of problem prevention, diagnostic service. Maybe you can add a service contract. So here's the project, or here's what we did. You get 6 months to do a follow-up check-in or whatever it is, something like that. Maybe it's payment options. Maybe if it's a more expensive product or service, so instead of paying $1,000, you can make 3 easy payments of $367, something like that. So lots of ways that you can try to differentiate. You just got to get creative with what it is. Even if it's just a small little thing that just sets you apart a little bit, good enough. All right, so let's talk about Hedgehog and Hedgehog marketing. So everybody know what a hedgehog is? Everybody seen a hedgehog? What do hedgehogs do?
They have spikes on them.
Huh? They have spikes?
They roll up into a ball and
Yeah.
hurt you.
Yeah. Do they bite you? Do they chase you? What do they do? So it's a comparison of a fox. There's kind of in ancient Greek mythology, this idea of a fox compared to a hedgehog. What can a fox do? Fox is fast. It could bite you, it can chase you, it can do all these different things. What does a fox do when it comes up to a hedgehog?
Runs away.
Does it do anything? The hedgehog does one thing. It rolls up into a little ball. The fox can't do anything with that. So the idea of hedgehog and hedgehog marketing is, instead of going broad, how do I be more narrow? And that's really, we have this fear that if I'm narrow, that I'm not going to get enough business. And what I have found, even in my own business, is that when I'm narrow, I actually can grow much faster. Because what you have is a commonality. So if your market is a particular person, let's say it's, moms with young toddlers from the age of 25 to 35. So let's say that's your ideal customer. And in your marketing, that's what you say. This is who we serve. All your marketing says this. If you're anybody outside of that, you're like, oh, well, I'm not that, so that's not for me. So again, the fear is that, oh, I'm going to turn somebody away. But within that segment, if you do a good job, how many more people do moms who are 25 to 35 with toddlers know who are also just like them? They're the same. And so you wind up being able to progress much faster by being more narrow. So there's different ways that you can do that. One way is by location. So I have a good real estate friend that's in real estate, realtor. He focuses just on the city of Westminster. That's it. All his marketing, all his branding, everything that he does is just the city of Westminster. Now, does he get business outside of Westminster? Of course he does. People build relationships, people move, may have bought a house in Westminster, but they decided to move. He'll still get business outside of Westminster, but everything that he does is focused on a very specific area. Hobby. There's another guy here in town who's a real estate agent, and what he says is he's the guy who sells garages with attached houses to people who love cars. So he loves cars, he's got cars, and so he focuses on that. So everybody that's a car guy and has a garage knows who this real estate guy is. So that's his way of just going narrow and focusing on that. Does he sell houses outside of that? Of course he does. But that's his branding, that's what he's put together and focuses on. Again, a demographic, you could pick a demographic or a narrow product. I'm the financial planner who focuses on life insurance, or I sell recovery patches. So there's some guy that had these recovery patches, so after you take like a long flight, you stick on this recovery patch and you recover fast. So that's all he does, is sell recovery patches, which is okay. Dylan Duggs, Jake Jabs, Top Hat Guy. So this is all personality based. So that's another way that you can sell too. Again, you have to be comfortable with that. You have to be okay with that. Not everybody's wired that way. Totally fine if you're not, but that is one way to do that. The other thing is just expertise. So especially, I think of like coaching and training programs, there definitely needs to be a degree of expertise there. So the more that you can speak and write, do those types of things. The other way that you can do this is if I bring a bunch of other experts together and we're doing some type of event together, there's kind of a transferred expertise that gets transferred to you just by organizing an event like that. So anytime you can be in the front of the room helps you become an expert. So there's some ways that you can create a hedgehog and be more narrow, and I really challenge you, especially early on, for those of you that are early on in starting the business, go narrow. It's totally fine, and see where you can go to do that. Super easy to differentiate yourself. Nobody that does what you're doing is going to be doing that. You're able to be much more narrow and able to hone your messaging and your marketing much faster, much easier.
So,
all right,
so
go ahead.
With that, what do you recommend to get over the anxiety that you're leaving business on the table or money on the table, and the decision to narrow seems kind of arbitrary? Like, let's say that realtor had no particular draw to Westminster and could have worked anywhere. How do you get over that mental hurdle that you're just picking something versus finding it later down the road?
Well, and as we go through the questions, what you have to look at is what do you already have? What's already here? So he lives in Westminster. Like, well, I live in Westminster, so wouldn't it be great if I didn't have to drive to Highlands Ranch to sell a house? If I could just save that much time by being more focused here. So that played a little part into that decision. Is Westminster the best place to sell houses? Who knows, right? You could do a market analysis and figure that out. But for him, it was more about, this is my community. This is where I live. This is the community I want to support on a community level. So why not focus on that from that perspective? But yes, I agree. It's definitely, it's a fear, but it's not a real, it's one of those fears that's, it's like a fear of the unknown that's not real. So I'm saying, trust me, is what I'm saying. Right? I dare you. What I'm saying is I dare you to try it. And if it blows up and doesn't work, then, oh, where'd it go? Come back. So we've definitely done it in our business. I went from 0 to I'm paying all my bills and things are like, I'm like, I can't believe I'm here in 18 months. And not because I'm brilliant and not because I'm smart and because I'm even good at what I do. I'm okay at what I do. I'm good at what I do. Okay. But I picked a niche, and it was all in the senior care assisted living industry, and that was my market. I started there, and in 18 months, I had regular money coming in, had great clients in a really short amount of time. So I thought it would be okay. I was scared to death to go, I'm just picking this.
Right. And was it arbitrary, or was it something that drew you to
it was one of those things where it was an opportunity that was in front of me. I didn't go into it going, I'm going to build a business off of this community, but I got to know the community. I liked the people in that community. I liked the space. And so I'm like, well, I'm here. I'm already doing this. Why not? And so that's part of what you have to look at. What do I already have? What's already there? Who have I worked with in the past? So you may have the answer right in front of you. It may not seem real obvious. But I was very intentional when I said, okay, I'm taking this path and I'm going to try to be really focused on that. Did I get business outside of that in that 18 months? Absolutely I did. I didn't try to focus on that. I didn't try to get the other business. But people know people who know people. So that assisted living owner, knows other people outside of that industry. So I still got business outside of that space. But the bulk of it today, right now, is in that space. So 7 years later. So it is a fear, but you can do it.
I know for our company,
Yeah.
that a lot of it had to do with the expertise. That's what we worked hard, and it was one of the easiest things for us to establish.
Yes.
Was our expertise.
Absolutely.
There's other people that may be out there that we could communicate it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we offer services like we go to our customer,
Yep.
whether it's a wedding dress or it's a little small project.
Right.
We'll come to our clients, make it convenient,
Yep.
and that differentiates us from others.
Yeah.
And that part is very successful. Some of these others, I'm not quite sure how
Yeah.
to.
And you don't have to do all these. These are like a lot of ideas, right? And you have to kind of go, does my business fit that?
Yeah.
It's not going to fit everybody's, depending on what you do and how you do it. But that's a great way. You're selling a product, but you're offering a service with that.
Or we're offering the service, and sometimes we have products.
Right.
It depends on
Yeah.
the client's needs.
Exactly. Yep. No, that's a great example. Great example. All right, so we'll talk a little more strategy. So this is what I call the 4P of strategy. There's kind of a standard 4P if you go to like a marketing class, in schools. It's similar to this, but it's a little bit different. It's like product, price, promotion. I can't remember what the other P is, something like that. So I learned this. My mentor was a marketing consultant when I first started doing this, and he kind of took me under his wing. So this is what he taught me. So I want to give you some of this. So people is pretty obvious, right? What's the demographic? Again, if you've got existing clients, this is a little bit easier because you're able to go, who are my clients now and what do they look like? How old are they? Where do they live? What's their economics, right? What's their income? Do they travel? Do they have kids? Do they participate in sports? Do they, ride motorcycles? What's the whole picture that I can get of who this person is that I've already sold to? So you can identify that with that. Where are they? Where do they live? How do they like to be communicated to? Is it a text message? Is it email? Do people answer their phones anymore? Not too many people answer their phones anymore. It's kind of a thing, do you get like someone calls you on the phone and you don't know who it is? It's not your caller ID and like you never answer it. Does anybody answer their phone to a number they've never seen? Yeah, you do. You're the only one. So nobody does that anymore. So, but maybe your clients, if they see you come on the caller ID, they're going to answer your call. So again, what's best for your clients?
It almost seems generational right now.
Very.
Do you have people? Some people only want to deal face to face.
Right.
Others will talk to us on the phone and strike the deal, And then there's others, if we're not gonna text or email,
Yep.
they don't wanna have anything to do with us.
Yeah.
And so
Yep.
we find that it's very much generational.
Yep. Yeah, so that's some of what we have to adjust to right now, depending on who we're selling to and how we communicate with them. You know, maybe Snapchat's the best way to communicate with them. Who knows? So a lot of times we call this a customer avatar, and especially when we get into, and we're not going to spend time, we don't have time tonight to talk about it, when we talk about social media marketing, this becomes really important, this customer avatar. Because in particular on platforms like Facebook, I can do ad campaigns, targeted ad campaigns that get very specific on who I'm looking for, based on age, location, and based on interest. What are they interested in? And a lot of times what you'll find when you look at this high level data, it's not specific to an individual, but you find that the people that like my Facebook page also like to read, fantasy novels, and they like the show. What's that show? I can't think of it right now. Oh my gosh.
Game of Thrones?
What?
Game of Thrones?
They're good enough. That wasn't it, but that's fine. But they like fantasy novels and the show Game of Thrones, right? Maybe that's their side interest, and you find there's a big chunk of people who like your Facebook page that are like that. So now when I create my ad campaign, I'm going to target more people that look that way. So this is kind of what we call a customer avatar when you can get into paid advertising and do that. Does this need to be absolutely perfect? Do you need to know all that? You don't have to, but at least ask the question. At least look at your own systems, your own database, and get a feel for it and have a better understanding of it. So the next thing then is the problem. Try to clearly identify what is the problem that you solve for them, and what is the impact of that problem. Something that we don't do very often is we have a client that didn't pick us. We don't ask the question why. Why didn't you choose me? What was it about what I was offering that either didn't make sense, that didn't fit what you needed? And ask that question to get a better idea of what that is. Whether this is business to business, consumer related products, doesn't matter. But what are the problems that they have, and what are those clearly stated? And then again, this is where you kind of try to tie in the emotional piece of it. What happens if they don't solve this problem? And we'll talk more about this in the questions. And then process. So process is your service, your product, the channel that this is related to. What are the details of the services that you offer? How is your process either faster, cheaper, better, in some way? Even if it's just a little bit, how does it solve this problem better than your competition? So we talk about identifying your key marketing assets. That's kind of going back to what I was talking about. My real estate guy, he lived in Westminster. He loves that community. He wants to support the entire community. So he just looked at what he had and made that decision. I went down the path of assisted living and working with those owners. I was kind of involved with an association. I was just helping out. I really liked them. I thought they were great people. So that was right there in front of me. Could I have gone a completely different direction? Sure. But that was already there. I already had it. And I just took what was in front of me, an existing asset, and I just took advantage. So most of what we need is somewhere around us, kind of in our circle somewhere, in our experience, in what we've done, in the people that we know. It's usually a lot closer than we realize. So asking some of these questions we'll talk about here should help. again, another way we kind of talked about this a little bit in the hedgehog side of it. You know, you could make it about your personality. So passion is either how passionate you are about this particular service or product that you have. It's also what we call emotional epics, epic stories. So there's a company here in town called Bentley Baths, and George Bentley, who started the company a number of years ago, basically sells these walk-in bathtubs, mostly for seniors, and his story that he shares. So he's got video, he's got content, is all about a situation that happened with his mom. So his mom and dad lived in Kansas somewhere. Mom slipped and fell trying to get in the bathtub and broke her hip. Had to go to the hospital, went to rehab. All these things happened. A month later, she passed away. So now dad's in the house by himself with the same bathtub there that mom fell in. What's he going to do about it? Well, let me see if I can get a new bathtub. Well, now he starts shopping. It's not that easy to try to find a good walk-in bathtub. It was a hard struggle for him to find people that he trusted, that knew what they were talking about, find something at a reasonable price. So he went through this entire process of trying to find a bathtub for his dad. So that all now is a part of his story. That's how he sells the product that he has. He does that with him talking about his personal journey, his epic, and what happened to him, and why he does what he does, and what he's trying to do. So if you have something like that, if you can tie something that in, awesome. Again, you don't have to, but what a great way to be able to differentiate yourself. So again, look at emotion. All buying, every time we buy something, we're meeting some emotional need. Yes, I bought this laptop computer here a couple months ago. I shopped around, I looked at lots of different ones, and ultimately, after I bought it, the way that I justified it was it's fast, right? I justified it with logic. It's fast, it works well, does what I need it to do. And you know what? It's pretty cool. Like I look cool when I have this laptop. Like, what is that? Right? But that's a whole emotional thing. We don't even realize it when we do it, when we buy stuff, but we do. I mean, look at how Apple sells their stuff. When you see someone, they show someone sitting in the coffee shop looking cool. Have you ever seen someone who looked just like not cool with an Apple product? Not in any of their commercials. You might have seen them in real life. But no, you're looking at somebody with an Apple product, they look cool. So we buy into that more than we realize, more than we understand. Every time we make a purchase, there's some emotional connection to that. So again, it might just be something small, but it's good to think about that. All right, so this is a little bit of free extra here. This is not necessarily branding. Again, my mentor gave me this. He loves acronyms, what we call ACES marketing. And this kind of gives you a plan of how do I create a marketing plan? What should my marketing plan look like? This is kind of gives you a framework that you can build out a good marketing plan using this. So it's attract, capture, engage, and sell. So what does that look like? So how do I attract someone? Again, whatever marketing piece that you create, there has to be some type of offer, right? It's either a report or a case study, or maybe you're doing a webinar, training. Maybe it's just a discount for trying your service. Something free, something you're giving away that you're doing. So one great example of this, sometimes I call these marketing widgets too. So I had a client that is still have that client who's actually in circuit board manufacturing. So that was another business I wound up selling to because I had some experience in that space. And it happened totally by accident. Again, not because I was brilliant or smart, but stuff that you already know usually is the stuff that you wind up doing. So we came up with a little, basically a calculator that calculated some information for engineers and stuck it on a page on their website. So now when we do a lot of their marketing and advertising programs, what we market is not the product that they sell, which is manufacturing of a circuit board. We market this free tool that's on their website that they come and they can check out. And if they come check it out, they fill it out, it's good information that they can use. They put in their email address, they download a report. Now we've captured their email address, we can start marketing to them and bring them back to the website. It's really super easy to market something that's free. Super easy to market something that's free. So come up with a widget or something that you can offer, and that can be what you use through whatever marketing medium that you decide to use. Does that make sense? Capture. So this is one of the biggest things. So again, as a marketing consultant through the SBDC, there's a lot of newer businesses kind of just getting started. A lot of times the first question I ask is, are you capturing people's email addresses? And where are you putting those? And usually the answer is, oh, I think I have them maybe in a spreadsheet, or it's in my email, Gmail or something, or that's very common. So get a service like MailChimp or Constant Contact, something like that. And every one of your clients that you have that you come in contact with, people that you know, put them in there, and when you send out an email, they have the option in that to always opt out. So if they don't like your emails, they can opt out and say they don't want to get them anymore. But you should be capturing that in some way. So same thing on your website. If you use something like MailChimp, you can actually grab some code out of MailChimp, put that on your website, so when people sign up on your website, boom, it's in MailChimp. Now I can send emails to that person. So this is super, super important, and it's something that gets missed really early on. Again, in a busy world where attention spans are this long, I mentioned Snapchat. A Snapchat message lasts for how long?
5 seconds?
10 seconds. Unless you change your settings. You could do it for less than 10 seconds. But the standard setting is 10 seconds. So in a world that messages only exist for 10 seconds and then go away forever, you have to be able to capture their information. So, and there's different ways that you can do that. Again, is it a form that they fill out? Do we get their phone number? Do we have them call us? So now we've got their phone number because they called us. Are we putting that in a database? Even if it's just a spreadsheet or whatever, are we capturing that? Are we keeping track of that and making sure that that's happening? Again, social media. If I get someone to like my Facebook page, does that mean they're going to see everything that I post? No, but at least I have a way to connect to them again. So that's the C, capture. And then engage. So once I get them into MailChimp, then maybe I have a 6-part email series that offers, a basic solution to some kind of problem. And you're able to do that. Maybe it's just a once a month newsletter that you send that says, hey, here's what I'm doing this month. Here are the things that are happening. By the way, I've got a special offer going on right now. Here's what it is. Even if it's just once a month. Just so you're maintaining some type of basic communication with your clients, past clients, prospects, everybody. Is it blog posts? Again, every business is different. Does everybody need to do blog posts? No, not everybody needs to do blog posts. But again, if it's going to be part of your business and you're going to make that part of it, then fine. And just figure out how often you want to do that. Is it webinars? Is it question and Q&A opportunities? Whatever that is. So that's the engagement part where you have two-way communication. Maybe it's creating a Facebook group and inviting certain people to a Facebook group where that whole group and that community can start to grow and have discussions and talk about whatever this common problem is that you have that you work with. All right, sell. When to ask for the sell? So it really depends. What I tend to see, especially with social media marketing and a lot of things, I go to a lot of networking events and meet somebody and like, oh, you got to buy my thing. Here's my card. Let's get together so you can buy it. It's like, I don't even know you yet. Like, can you like date me for a while first before you asking me to marry you? Like, I want to get to know you a little bit. So that happens frequently. What I like to use, especially in marketing messages, especially if you're talking about even email or social media, is what I call a 5-to-1 ratio. So for every 5 messages, those 5 messages are generic in some way. They're helpful, useful information. I'm providing helpful service. It's some type of content that's useful, interesting, educational, something along those lines. But then the 5th message or 6th message, depending on how you do it, can be a sales message. Here's a discount. Here's an offer that we have. So that way you've got a good mix. And usually 5-to-1 is plenty. So if I get 5 messages that are informational and helpful, helps me build up a little bit of trust with you, kind of get to know you a little bit better. Now when I see your sales message, I'm a little more open to being accepting to that. So if I get the sales message first before I've got to know you, we haven't warmed up the relationship at all, I might get turned off, I might turn you off completely and ignore it. So again, is this email? Is this some kind of media? Is it in person? Whatever the media that you use, the delivery method, it's really all the same. It's a good ratio to use. It's pretty safe. Again, you have to evaluate your own business. Maybe 2 messages is enough, and then a sales message. Maybe 10 messages is what you need for a sales message. It's going to depend on the cost of the product, what the product is, or the service, and that type. So the other thing that's important is consistency. So whether you're advertising or whatever this is, if you say, I'm going to do a blog post, and I'm going to do 1 blog post a month, that's great. Just do it every single month. If you want to do it every week, fine. But just do it every single week. So create an expectation, set something that you know that you can do, and just be consistent with it. So even me, the marketing guy, my blog posts up to a year ago were very sporadic. I might do 1, and then like 3 months later, oh, this would be a good blog post. Throw up a blog post, and I'm like, how can I be telling people to do this and I don't even do it myself? It's classic, cobbler. He fixes everybody else's shoes, but his shoes are terrible. They're a mess. So about a year ago, actually 1 year ago, this month, I said, you know what? I can do a 5-minute video every single month. I can record a little video. I can get that video transcribed, which will be the content of the blog post with my video, once a month. I can do that. I know I can do that. So we've done it every month for the last year without fail. That's my whole, not my whole marketing plan, but in terms of a piece of my marketing plan, That's the thing that I've done. A 5-minute video, anybody can do that once a month. So you just got to decide what your frequency is going to be, how consistent you want to be with it, and then just do it. Stick to it. Okay. So, and we can get into some of these questions, and I'd like to hear more about your guys' stuff, and we can answer some of the questions specifically about your business for the next 45 minutes. That work? Was that helpful? Good background? Gives you some bases to work with? Okay. So the discovery process. So I'm going to take you through some basic questions that we ask clients. This process, what you're going to get right now, I've charged anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000 to take a client through all these questions and work with them on trying to answer these. So just to give you an idea, the value that these questions have with it. Okay, they're really powerful. I've used them for all kinds of different types of businesses, and this is probably the 3rd or 4th time that I've done this workshop and gone through these. So these will help at least give you a basis, good framework to start with. Again, all this stuff is a process. You don't get it perfect when you're starting out, but if you can get at least a good basis to start with, you can take the next step and begin to move forward. So some groundwork on the questions. If you use the term, well, we always want to expand and unpack the answer to the question. If we say, oh, we're the best at this, what does that mean? How are you the best? Explain to me what makes you the best at that. So we need to dig into that and understand that better. We want to stay away from platitudes. What's a platitude? That's, we make a quality product. Well, great. Anybody can say they make a quality product. What does that really mean? What does that really look like? Can you give me some kind of information that explains why it's a quality product? We have 0% returns over the last 12 months. Okay, now I understand. That's a quality product because nobody returns it, doesn't come back. So you got to take it to the next level. Again, we talked about some of these questions with why is someone buying from you instead of the competitor? Again, it's better. Why is it better? And take it to the next level. How is that relevant to your customer? Who else can say that? Can my competition say that? So these are some of the things as we go through these that you want to go. If you can, go 3 levels deep. So you ask why once, and then you get an answer. Then you ask why again, and then you get an answer, then you ask why again. So 3 levels deep. If you go 3 levels deep on any of these, you're going to get really to the core of what differentiates you, what makes you different, and what you can use in your marketing messaging to stand out from your competition. Again, kind of example of that. Why would somebody want to buy your product or service? It solves this problem. Okay? What does that mean for them? Well, it means they don't have to suffer with this problem anymore. Yep, great. And if they didn't have to suffer with that, awesome. Well, then they could get on with their life without worrying about it. Super. And describe for me what it means for them to get on with their life. So what does that look like? So trying to really unpack these as we go. So you may not be able to do all that tonight, but let's try to, at a high level, kind of talk about any of your specific businesses. All right, so how are you currently getting new customers with that? So a couple of you tell me, how are you getting new customers right now?
Word of mouth.
So you're getting referrals, word of mouth, so that's good. So you must be doing something right for people to refer you. They trust you, you did a good job. That's good. What about you?
It's been word of mouth.
Word of mouth. So how did you get the initials? Just people that you knew? So you just started with your own network and just started to expand out from there? Great.
Network.
From your own network? That's fine. You're just getting started. Have you had any clients yet that you've done CE classes for?
No, not yet. I have
Okay.
some set up, but that's kind of that's what I'm trying to figure out now. What's going to be the best way to go about
To
doing it.
reaching them.
Mhm.
Okay. How do you guys get clients down?
It took us about 6 months to get our Google and Yelp ratings up
Gotcha.
high enough. Right now, she's got 5-star ratings except for one client, and we were able to say, hey, this was a bad deal, we're sorry.
Yeah.
But it's not our common way. We get calls a week because the 5-star. I'm
Okay.
sorry, we're booked. I'll wait for you.
Great.
So that's one place.
Okay.
Another place is we belong to a networking group, and
Okay.
it's a B&I group.
Yeah.
And we learn how to better contact
Yep.
our client. How do we do those short commercials?
Yep.
How do we be specific on who we want to
Sure.
have?
Sure.
And it just takes practice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good. Good. So you can go through and answer some of these questions in terms of the marketing you're doing right now. What are some ways that you've tried? What's actually worked? What have been the best ways to accomplish that? And then another key of this is, what are your goals? What is it you want to have happen? How many new clients do you want to get over the next 12 months? Even if it's starting out, I want to get 5 clients next month. How do I get 5 clients next month? What are my goals, and what do I want to accomplish with that? So again, this is just a little bit of background information. You can answer these questions and look at that. So again, defining the target market. Who is that target market for your products and services? So describe for me again these folks you have. So they're already trainers in fitness facilities. Okay.
And basically, for our certifications, we have to get a certain amount of continuing education credits so that we remain certified.
Gotcha.
Because if we let it
These are
expire,
so they're not just trainers.
they're certified.
They're not just, hey, I got hired by 24 Hour Fitness, I'm 20 pounds overweight, I'm a trainer.
Right. No. They're certified professionals.
This is already a certified trainer, so there's different certifications for that.
Right.
So how many different certifications are out there?
Plethora.
A lot of them.
Mm-hmm. And right now,
And what's the most
I'm-
common?
Well, I'm accredited by, out of the top 5, I'm accredited by 2 of them.
Okay.
So one of my short-term goals here is to get more approved, to be an approved provider for at least 3 more.
More of those programs. So,
Mhm.
so you're really trying to look at how can I be in the top 5
Yeah,
certification programs to be able to do these classes for anybody in those top 5 programs.
right.
So do you have an idea in the metro area, how many people are there that are in those certified by those top 5 programs?
There's around 6,000.
6,000 in the metro area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's a really specific market.
Yeah.
That, like, you should be able to know exactly where they are, who they are, all that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of easy. Like, you know where they are.
Yeah, I know where they are. And my analysis and my projections, I took half of that because
Sure.
a lot of the certifications you can get online, but with the online, they don't get the practical experience, which is also a requirement for us to stay certified. We have to have
Gotcha.
a certain amount of those CEUs that are practical.
Yep.
So
Not just
that's-
online.
Not just online. So that's one of the things that I do is I have the practical application portion of it, and then I also go to the facility instead of them having to travel around other places.
Gotcha. So tell me a little bit about your competition then. Where else are they going to get this practical training?
Well, like even for myself, like the actual certifying bodies, they can get CEUs from them. But like for me, I have to fly to Las Vegas to get it done.
Oh, okay.
So it's very expensive.
So a lot of times they have to travel
Mhm.
out of the area
Yes,
to go get those certifications.
right.
Okay. Great. What else about these particular trainers? Why do they get certified?
To help
What does that
people.
give them?
I mean, they have clients. They're training people, you know, to improve their quality of life and get better athletically. I mean, whatever, you know, our clients' goals are, that's what we cater to. So, and it's their profession. A lot of people do it part-time, but a lot of people, it's their full-time.
It's a full-time thing for them.
Mhm.
Is there a particular, like, are they doing mostly athletes? Are they doing people after injuries? Like, what are the type of people they're working with?
All the above. It could be
A lot of different ones?
postpartum pregnancy. It could be athletes. It could be someone who's morbidly obese. It could be somebody who's trying to lower their cholesterol. I mean,
Okay.
it's just all over the spectrum.
So I'm very much an 80-20 person. So what I would look at is what's that market, right? And who are they serving? And where's the top, 20%? There's 20% of those that is 80% of the market.
For their client base, I guess.
Yeah.
I understand. Okay.
So like, I don't know what it is, but I would try to figure it out. Is it, 80% of these trainers, are working with this particular type of person,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
right? So there's some 80-20 thing that if I find these 20%, I'm going to reach 80%. How do I find the 20% that are doing the most work, that care the most about the certifications, that have the most expensive certifications? Who is that top end market, and can I sell to them first?
I don't know how to do that.
So you got to ask questions, right? You got to dig a little bit,
Okay.
dig into it,
Just when I'm interacting with these
Yeah.
fitness professionals,
ask them,
ask them. Okay.
who are your clients? Who are you working with? Because you may find they're more working with athletes or, whatever.
Yeah, there's definitely a differentiation because like there are some that are younger, just starting out, and they might be charging $25 to $30 an hour.
Right.
And then you have those who are more experienced, have been in the industry for a long time, and they're charging upwards to anywhere between $75 to $150 an hour.
Exactly.
So I get what you're saying.
So look at that spectrum and find where you can optimize that and focus on a smaller segment. Okay, like you said, not all 6,000, but 3,000. But why those 3,000?
Gotcha.
What's different about those 3,000 that I can hone in and get my messaging a little more clear and understand better?
Gotcha.
Does that help?
With your credentials, is that a DORA requirement, or is it an association requirement for the physical, for the trainers?
What was
Like
the
a
first?
DORA is a state program, like a nurse has a
Well,
DORA
unfortunately,
certification.
yeah, our industry is not regulated.
Okay, so it's going to be an association.
It's a little voluntary, yeah.
Yeah.
So you might check on what those groups are
Yep.
and who has the most. The other thing I would highly suggest, and it almost sounds counterintuitive, be more expensive than other providers. Because then they're going to say, oh, maybe you're worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're a better expert because you're requiring more. We found the hard way. If you try to be the cheapest, easiest, then people
It's not always.
treat you like muck. But if you are the expert and you're demanding top dollar, that it be fair, but it really seems to benefit the growth.
And you're right, and that kind of goes along the lines of how you started, as far as it's not always best just to mark our prices down.
Yep.
And I just did that.
Yep.
But, because I got a little scared, like, oh my gosh, what if people are going to pay this much, but I've been in the industry for almost 15 years now, so I didn't just get here.
Yep.
But nonetheless, it's cheaper than going to Las Vegas and staying at the Bellagio Hotel and
Right.
all the expenses that
Yeah,
come
just
with
think
that.
you're saving them money.
Yeah, and it's still a good price as far as I'm
Right.
not cheap, but I'm not charging you $1,000
Yeah.
either.
Yeah, you're
So-
still saving money.
Yeah, you're definitely still saving money, and you don't have to leave work.
Yeah, you can do it right there. I'm going to come to you and do it.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, good. So tell me about who have you been working with so far?
Well, unfortunately, nobody so far.
Okay, so you're just getting
and
started.
Well, yeah, and
Okay.
that's the struggle, like all of this, because leadership development and leadership in general is
Mhm.
such a ubiquitous term,
Yep.
and it happens everywhere,
Yes.
that I've had a very difficult time narrowing that down. I can describe your last question there, perfect prospect,
Mm-hmm.
in general terms better than I can identifying target markets. Like, for
Gotcha.
example, I say I want to have a client that's small to mid-sized business, potentially has a budget to bring in someone external to do some training
Mhm.
and development,
Yep.
has personnel in a hierarchy that there's actual leadership going on,
Yep.
versus a mom and pop maybe.
Yep.
I'm looking for someone that's military friendly but not military familiar. So what I mean by that is I probably wouldn't be a good fit for, like, let's say Greenpeace,
Right.
but equally I wouldn't be a good fit for General Dynamics
Sure.
because there's so much military
So
in that
military.
company that they don't see it being unique.
Right.
But that's where I kind of end at that point, because in my mind, and we mentioned this earlier, in my mind, if, like, let's say Papa John's said, I want you to do leadership development for all our store managers in the greater Denver area, I would be equally as happy with that as if Vista Hospital said they wanted some of their administrators developed, or if a construction company said they wanted their foreman
Yep.
trained. And that's where I kind of lose track, because
Yeah.
I'm like, well, at this point it's arbitrary.
Yeah. It's hard to pick out. So a couple of thoughts for you. One, I would look up a gal called Major Mom. So she started an organizing company here in Colorado a few years ago. She was, a major in the military and a mom, and anytime she was at home, she was watching all these home organizing shows and all that kind of stuff, and her husband's just like, man, you are crazy about these shows, like, why don't you just do that? Just go do that. And then she was like, oh, could I do that? Okay, why not? So she took all her years of experience of the military, and she brought in all that kind of, that structure and that story, and so her and her organizers, they called them liberators, and they wore t-shirts and cami pants, as a part of what they did. So that was all part of her branding, and so she was on Shark Tank, I don't know, last year or something like that. They didn't go for it, but she's made a lot of changes and tried to change her brand a little bit. But she got a business from zero to launched really fast and doing well. Kind of following that. So look her up and just kind of, it might give you some ideas to think about how you can bring that in. I would look at some of these organizations that, the Wounded Warriors groups. What businesses are actively supporting groups like Wounded Warrior? Who's already supporting groups like that? So there could be some connections there that would be a little bit easier to make those ties. That's a couple of thoughts I got. Let's see, what else? Yeah, so we talked a little bit more about that. So what about you guys? Who are you guys going to be selling to? Tell me the new product that you're doing. What's the new thing you're doing?
Well, we're doing I guess our main thing is eyelash extensions.
Okay.
That's the main thing that
Really
our
wanna
customers
focus on
come
that?
back for. Yeah. And so our general clientele are young professional women in their
Okay.
mid-20s to 40s.
Okay.
They're usually moms and women that travel a lot, so they
Okay.
want to cut their beauty regimen time in half.
Awesome.
And so that's kind of the clientele we're reaching.
So everything you just said right there is you're done.
Okay.
So just put that in paper, put that in writing.
Totally.
That's it. So if you just did that and did nothing else, you'd be golden.
Okay.
Honestly, I mean that tells me exactly who your clients are. Me as an outside person that's never going to get my lashes done, I know
Yeah.
exactly who to send to you,
Totally.
right? Because
Yeah.
I work with professional women all the time. They travel, they got kids, they're busy. I'm like, oh, you got to go see these girls.
Definitely. Okay.
That's a really simple way. Again, depending on your product or service, like you can just do that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's awesome. Don't you think? You guys agree with me?
Thanks.
That was really crystal clear. I knew who your audience was. I knew what you did for them, the value you brought. Just like that. All right, you got any thoughts?
Yeah, moms, mid-20s, mid-30s,
Okay.
growing families,
Okay.
living off discretionary income that they
Okay.
can afford to get some pictures taken.
You guys would probably be good strategic partners.
No, good point. Didn't think
Yeah.
about that.
So this is a whole other thing I haven't really talked about. I haven't talked about this so much in this, but you really want to grow fast, have some really good strategic partners. So this is a relationship where you guys have the same audience. So you guys working together some way will grow both your businesses faster together. So how does Apple sell iPhones?
They pair with popular musical artists.
They do that? How else? Most common. What's the most basic thing?
Verizon.
Verizon Wireless. Who was the first one to sell iPhones? They got a contract with Verizon. Strategic relationship. So Apple didn't sell an iPhone directly to anybody. Verizon sold their phones. So where you can find that possibility and where you can make that connection is going to help you so much. So the only reason I did so well with the assisted living space is because I worked with that association. I went to every single event. I helped work at the events. They saw me at all their events. Who is this guy? I ran the AV stuff for them. I helped organize things. I brought food in. I was just there in that space. So eventually there were people like, well, he must be okay. He's always here. The association lets him come. So there's a transfer of trust that happens. So your clients trust you when you say, go see her. You now have their trust as a part of your business.
Can I ask you a question in regards to
Yeah.
that? That kind of dawned on me recently. It kind of frustrated me because I felt like I had to start all over. But
That's all right.
you know, first I was looking at just fitness professionals as individuals, but then I started thinking like that, and I'm like, instead of going through them individually, I could get contracts with the gyms
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, I got to start my whole business plan.
No,
all
it's
over
okay.
again.
I mean, get the individual clients, but that should be your ultimate goal.
Ultimate goal. Okay.
That should be your ultimate goal is how can I get the gym to contract with me to
Right.
do all their trainers.
Exactly.
That becomes your strategic relationship.
Okay.
I did this for the circuit board manufacturing company. So there's all these people out there that are electrical engineers that design the circuits, right? They use software to design those circuits. I found one of these software companies that made software for that, and I said, hey, can we partner together? I want you to develop a version of your software that's branded just to our company, and we're going to put an ordering system inside the software so that after they get done designing that software or designing that circuit board, they can hit a button that says buy now. And every time somebody does that, we're going to pay you a commission off of that and pay you a percentage. So now I'm giving away a free design tool that somebody else designed for us that we can give away for free. I don't have to even go to the next step of, okay, I got to get my files, I got to send it to 3 vendors and get a quote. I skipped all that. It's right here, quote, order, and I didn't have to pay. We paid a little bit up front, not that much, but it's in the best interest of the software provider to continue to grow that and for us to distribute free software, because the circuit board company makes money and the software vendor makes money giving away free software. So those are ideas, ways to try to come up with strategic relationships. That's going to help you grow much faster. That was good. That was awesome. How'd that happen? Okay. So benefits, talk about the benefits. We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. What do they really get out of what you offer? Is it saving time? Is it saving money? Are they happier? Go through and dig through and really try to detail that out. What is the benefit that they really get from it? Objections. Think about why would they not want to go ahead and do it? Is it price? Is it, this is a great question. If money's not the problem, why wouldn't they buy it? So if it's not about the money, what's the reason? And try to figure that out and put some thought into that. And is that a valid reason or not? Competition. So this is a piece that gets overlooked a little bit too. Take some time and really evaluate your competition. So one of the things we've been doing a lot this last year is a competitive analysis for anybody that says, hey, can you help me work on the website? I want to get more traffic to my website. Like, great, I'd love to help you with your website. But who are your top 3 competitors? Because I don't know what I need to do in terms of just your website and the other stuff that we need to do to get you to rank better unless I know what your competition is doing. And so you can dig into that. If it's as simple as, look on Facebook. What's my top 3 competitors? If it's location-based, if it's, industry-based, like leadership training. Who are the big players in Colorado for leadership training? Who are they? What are they doing? Dig into that, learn more about that, figure that out. Because sometimes you can find good stuff. Like sometimes your competition is doing good stuff that you can steal. Did I say steal? Borrow? You borrow it?
Use.
Yeah. And use. Again, as long as you're not infringing on trademark or that type of stuff. Obviously, don't steal their logos and pictures and all that. So, have you guys, I don't know if you guys watch this, the spin-off series called Better Call Saul. Have you guys watched that at all?
That's you.
Yeah. So in one of the episodes, the law firm he used to work for, he basically, it's their logo, he just put his initials on it. It's his picture, but it looks just like the other guy's picture. I mean, it's exact duplication. And he's like, what? You can't have a little, free speech in this country? It's like, it looks exactly like mine. Like, no, you can't do that. It's not a good idea. So who are your top 3 competitors? Again, what's different from you, from your competition? And again, be as specific as you can. Try to identify that and pull out what makes you unique. All right. This one is SAQs. I call them SAQs. Should ask questions. So again, being an expert in what you do, what are the questions that someone should be asking about what you do? So what are the questions that someone should be asking about leadership training that they probably don't know they should ask? What are questions people are asking about the person that's giving me certified training that I probably don't know I should ask? What are those questions? So think about those, put those together. You know, again, you had a relative that lived out of state and you wanted to give them the best advice to get the best lashes around. Hey, here's what you got to look for. Make sure they don't use this kind of chemical or whatever it is, right? Those are should ask questions that that you can put together. This becomes part of your content. This becomes your messaging on your website, your social media, your brochure, wherever you're going to put that. These are the questions that people should be asking. And then frequently asked questions. What are the common questions that people ask? So this gets overlooked way too many times. Don't go to my website right now. I don't have frequently asked questions on there right now. We're in the process of building it out. Again, I really want to follow my own advice. So we're working on getting FAQs and SAQs, even for what we do, to look at that. Again, this is all content. What are the common questions that people have about the product or service that I have? This goes into my social media. This might go in a blog post. It might go on an image on Instagram. It becomes all the content that drives everything else. It helps, again, this is, the SAQs and FAQs really are a piece of helping to help your prospects see why you're different and understand that you actually care about solving their problem. They're going to these build trust very quickly, so people trust you quicker and are willing to take the next step. All right. So we've had a great example of Sassy. What's it called?
Sassy Selections.
Sassy Selections. So their core marketing, client acquisition strategy is their online reviews. You can totally do that. So when you're doing coaching and training programs, it's all about your testimonials. So it should be, you have the 6 questions you should ask. Is that on maybe the last page?
Mm-hmm.
Essay. So those 6 questions you can sit down with somebody that you work with. So even you starting out, find somebody that's willing to do it and say, look, I'm willing to do this. I'm not going to charge you any money, but at the end, you got to answer these questions. I need to get a testimonial from you. So people trust what other people say about your business more than they trust what you say about your business. So it's the basic idea. The number one most trusted form of advertising is a personal referral. Right? So you guys are used to getting referrals. That is the most trusted form of advertising. There is nothing trusted more than that. And that's not even 100%. Even if you tell me I should go see this person, like it's high, like in the 90 percentile, but I don't necessarily 100% trust that. The second most trusted form of advertising, reviews and testimonials. Not email marketing, not radio, not print, not anything else. The reviews and the testimonials. So these are really critical, especially, again, in personal training, coaching, any kind of space like that. Those testimonials are the lifeblood of take all this stuff that we've done and the thing that wraps it up, puts it over the edge, that gets you over the next step is going to be your testimonials.
I attended a conference where they were talking about how at the current time 90 to 95% of people find businesses that they want to deal with using Google.
Yep.
Specifically Google.
So
you need to rank high on Google. If you show up on the first page and you have great reviews, it's kind of a done deal. So there's things that you could do for free to get into that position One is having a Google My Business. That's free. It's the pin that they say, here you are, and here's your hours and all that. Another is having a LinkedIn account. Have it under your name that you're the owner of that company, and it won't cost you anything. Facebook and those types of reviews. Yelp is another good one.
Yep.
And be wary of Yelp, because if you have a bad review on Yelp, you can't fix it.
Yeah.
They look at it and go, you're spamming us here.
Yeah.
They want honest reviews,
Absolutely.
and they won't take things down.
Yep. Yep. Totally. Yeah. And again, one or more of those are places where you might need to be. If you're doing more leadership training and stuff, LinkedIn and LinkedIn recommendations, that's probably a much better play for you than a Google page. But for local business and that, they're not even getting to your website. They're doing a search on their phone and they're looking at the reviews. I'm looking for a photographer, an eyelash, whatever it is I'm looking for. I don't even get to your website before I decide to call you because I'm looking at the reviews. So sometimes your website ranking is almost irrelevant. So I have a coffee shop that we help them with their reviews, and she had somebody come in and it's like, oh, we can do all this SEO for your website. It's going to be, $1,000, blah, blah, blah. And so she sent me all this information. She's like, hey, will you quote on this, on doing this? And I'm like, no. Like, why? If you're a coffee shop, if I'm looking for a coffee shop in Westminster, I go, coffee shop Westminster. And guess what? You pop up number one because you have the most and the best reviews. Like, I don't even get to your website. I'm trying to find out where you are, what hours are you open, maybe your phone number. The last thing I'm looking at is probably your website. So is it really going to bring in more clients as a coffee shop if I spend $1,000 on SEO on my website? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. So it's a huge piece of it and what people look at. All right, we don't have much time left. Other questions? Anything? What else I got on here? Let me see. Okay, 6 questions. All right. So again, if you want to dig a little bit deeper, it's the contact. Go to the SBDC website. It should be on some of these flyers. And if you contact them, you can say, hey, I want to meet with Peter and spend some time and dig a little bit deeper, get a little more specific. I'm happy to do that with you guys. What else? Other questions? Go ahead.
So, knowing what you know now, right? If you could climb in the DeLorean and go back to the beginning of DMD,
Yeah.
what was that, 8 years?
Yep.
On one hand, you could start trying to get clients, and then when you had time, 3 months later, whatever, start blogging, and 6 months later have enough capital for advertising or whatever.
Yep.
If you could do it over again, would you say stop everything, even if it costs money up front, get that stuff nailed down, the marketing strategy, the advertising if you choose to go that route, if you choose to do a blog or website or SEO, in your experience, even though it costs money and time, is the payoff so much more than waiting to do some of that stuff when you think you have the time and money?
Yeah, so the only thing that I would do a little bit differently, and I did a little bit early on and then I kind of stopped. I got busy and then I stopped doing it. But for me, the way I wanted to do client acquisition was speaking and training. So I needed to be at the front of the room. I needed to be the expert. So that when I was going to do a project or bid on a project, they already viewed me as I knew what I was doing. So that was my differentiation, is using that category, right? I'm an expert. And so I would have spent more time doing that. So I did some of it early on. I did enough to get busy because I was on such a narrow niche.
Right.
it got me busy pretty fast. But I could have got to where I'm at now faster if I had just stayed on, keep being the expert, keep being the expert, keep being the expert. So I came back about 3 years ago and I said, okay, wait, this thing's busy, it's crazy, it's not exactly the way I want it. What do I need to do? Oh, I need to speak, I need to train, I need to teach this stuff and do that. So that's really, for me, that's the only thing I would adjust. I would just focus entirely on that and use my platform for that. And that's all I've done the last 3 years. So in the last 3 years, we basically have doubled the business from what I started it from. So, which is not huge, but
Right.
it's
Sounds
still,
good.
it's grown.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a lot of photographers out there, most of them are
Yes.
hobbyists.
Yes.
So I need to be
Everybody's a
different.
hobbyist photographer.
I know. I need to be different,
Yep.
and I've got a lot of questions here to sort through, but
Yep.
I'm just kind of lost without.
Yeah. So you really have a challenge as a photographer because it is so, you have so much competition. Not only do you have hobbyists, everybody who has one of
Everybody's got a
these,
cell phone.
everybody who has one of these is a photographer. Okay? That's your competition. So long term is you got to figure out, how do I become this narrow thing that's really awesome that nobody else does? You may not know that today. Today, you need clients. Strategic relationships with really close markets to who your target audience is. That's going to be your closest thing just to get things rolling, to get it moving. But at some point, you got to keep pushing the creativity, pushing, look at what other people are doing and figure out for yourself, what can I do that makes people go, oh, look at those pictures. I want her as my photographer. So whatever that is. So it's probably going to be a little bit of a process. You may not figure that out, in a month. It might take you 6 months or a year or longer. But easy to build strategic relationships, get some business, do the normal stuff as you're working towards that. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that, right? Some people need photographers. I want someone I can trust that's going to do a good job. Okay, so you can totally build that off a relationship and strategic relationships. So it's fine to start there. But long term, where do you want to go with it? How big do you want this thing to be? It's really trying to figure out, what can I do that's really unique? So it's a challenge. I don't have an easy answer for you. But you'll discover it, right? It's in you already. It's there. You just haven't uncovered it yet. So just keep working on it till you figure it out. Yeah.
One last thing.
Sure.
On May 18th,
Yeah.
there is a North Metro conference that is a joint
Yeah.
venture between the Chamber of Commerce and the Front Range Small Business
And
Development
the
Center.
SBDC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes from 7:30 to 12:30. It costs $30, and I think it'll be one of the best $30 that I spent. When I went in August, there were probably 150, 200 people.
Yeah, there'll
that
probably be
were there.
80, 100 people there. Who's speaking that day, by the way?
The Google guy. What's his?
Yeah?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, his name's Peter Brissett, digital marketing dude. Yeah, you might know him.
Huh? So you're the
I'm
but
one of
it's
the
other-
speakers.
it's the other guy that I was.
So Eric Spellman spoke last year, and he was really good. So I've got one segment in there about your website and what does Google want from you and that kind of stuff. So
What was the date?
that's the 18th. So Thursday.
At the college.
Yeah, up at the Front Range Community College. And there's several speakers in different categories, all small business related. It's $30 for the day. Give you lunch, snacks, and that kind of stuff. So one of the things I was going to invite you guys to, so I have a group that meets Friday mornings over here at the Egg and I. It's called Sales Professionals. We're all small business people We always have a speaker that comes in. We might talk about marketing. We might talk about sales. We might talk about personal development. It's $14. You get breakfast and get to meet some other people. So if you're interested in that, I've got cards for that. I'll give you a breakfast 2 times for free if you come check us out. So we're 7:02. Thank you guys so much. Excited for each of your businesses. Love what you're doing. Again, reach out if you want to do any more consulting. We'll help you out and help you guys get to the next step. All right?
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks. Do you send out and ask for testimonials from everybody? Reviews? Like, how was our speaker?
We have in the past, yeah.
So make sure you do that and, be honest. Say, yeah, he was great.